Imagine being halfway through the school year, deep into conjugating French verbs or learning German grammar, when your school suddenly tells you to drop the textbook and start over with a brand new language. That sudden pivot was the result of schools scrambling to implement the National Education Policy 2020. Looking at this diagram of the required three-language structure, the mandate is straightforward. Students must learn three languages, and two of those three slots have to be filled by native Indian languages. This created an immediate logistical nightmare. Students who had spent years mastering foreign languages were suddenly non-compliant, facing a total loss of their academic progress to make room for a second native language. Parents pushed back. The abrupt switch mid-session threatened to wreck grades. That sustained pressure forced the Education Board to concede that an overnight transition was academically destructive for current middle schoolers. To halt the mid-session chaos, the Central Board of Secondary Education issued revised guidelines in May. Union Education Minister Dharmender Pradhan stepped in, guaranteeing that students who had already taken foreign languages could continue studying their selected options. This intervention effectively splits the CBSE student body into two distinct timelines, those granted a special one-time relaxation and those facing the strict new language mandate. These changes officially lock into place for the 2026-27 academic session. For parents trying to map out the next few years, your child's exact academic workload and their upcoming board exam requirements are now entirely determined by what specific grade they are sitting in today. Let's start with the immediate status of students who are currently in Class 10 for the 2026-27 session. This cohort is entirely exempt from the new three-language policy. They will finish their secondary education under the old system, studying only two languages. If you have a 10th grader, you can ignore the new policy noise completely and focus 100% on standard board exam preparation without any curriculum disruption. The situation gets more complex for the current batches sitting in classes 7, 8, and 9. These grades are now required to take an R3, a third language, and under the new rules, this needs to be a Bhartiya Bhasha, or a native Indian language. This flowchart shows the relaxation. If studying two non-native languages, keep both and add a native R3. Have a mix, or two native languages, just ensure two of your three choices are native to India. But here is the critical trade-off for grading. When these specific batches progress to Class 10, there will be absolutely no CBSE board examination for their third language. While this transition saves years of foreign language progress, it does mean an increased daily workload. Students must perform consistently in inter school assessments to pass, but they won't have the pressure of cramming for a third board exam. The rules change entirely for students entering Class 6 and all subsequent younger batches in 2026-27. This diagram breaks down the mandate batch. They must strictly adopt the NEP 2020 formula from day one, two native Indian languages and one other language, locked in. When progressing to Class 10, they will take a formal CBSE board examination for all three. To support this, dedicated R3 textbooks for Class 6 in 22 scheduled native languages are being provided through the NCERT. While this severely restricts a student's ability to dive into multiple foreign languages early on, it normalizes the three-language workload over 4 full years. That steady pacing prevents a brutal academic shock when they hit high school. The CBSE has carved out specific total exemptions to this policy. Children with special needs receive full relaxations from the compulsory third language requirement under the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. All CBSE schools located outside of India, as well as foreign students returning to India, are completely exempt from the native Indian language requirement. If your family migrates to another state, your child can keep their existing language combination. Schools are provided flexible staffing options, like virtual teaching, to support those specific choices. These exemptions act as fail-safes. They ensure equitable access to education for students facing major logistical or physical hurdles, keeping the focus on learning rather than rigid compliance. Looking at CBSE's overarching strategy, they intentionally delayed the most painful testing requirements of NEP 2020 for older students to prioritize a smooth transition. Here's your scorecard. Current Class 10, do nothing. Proceed with board prep. Classes 7 through 9, add the third language for internal assessments with no board exam penalty. Class 6 and below, choose two native languages strategically today. You're tested in 4 years. By identifying exactly which timeline your child falls into right now, you can turn a confusing policy rollout into a highly predictable, manageable academic roadmap.